Well, I have to tell you that I'm a little bit sad. This is the beginning of the end. It's the beginning of our last time together, the end of the finale, the conclusion of our 8-week voyage to take you from the very beginning to LLM mastery. And what a fitting conclusion it should hopefully be. I realize I maybe oversold some of the excitement that was in store, but I do hope that you shared some of it with me, that you also enjoyed this project and that you're ready for the last stages. So what you can do now is so much to it that I couldn't possibly do it. The injustice of squeezing it into 3 bullets. So it now dominates most of this page. And obviously what's in store for us today is to get to the top of the mountain and complete the mastering of AI and engineering and LLM engineering. The missing piece for us, if we look at our agentic AI solution, we covered each of these different pieces, and perhaps the one that we hadn't yet completely ticked the box of was having autonomy. We have got memory, we've in a sense, although there's not much point in having memory if it doesn't, if it only runs once. Yeah, we really need to pull all of this together and have it into a process that is running, and so that you'll be able to kick something off and then just go away and get on with your daily life and get texted, push notified from time to time as deals come up on the internet that seem worthy of your attention. And so this, one more time, was the agentic workflows that we had put together. And of course, we built everything in red in one session when we built out our prices, including the specialist pricer that calls out to modal, and the frontier pricer that uses our chroma lookup. And then we built an ensemble that takes the weighted average of them all. And we then assembled it together with our scanner and our messaging and planning so that we'd have everything together. And then last time we used something that was fancily called an agent framework, but was nothing more than a Python script to glue everything together. And of course you can, as I say, get agent frameworks through various off-the-shelf frameworks, but most of what they're doing is exactly what we did ourselves through simple Python. All right, so what remains? What remains is for us to go back with one last time to Jupyter Lab, where we will start playing with my old friend Gradio. We will be right there. And here we are in Jupyter Lab for the last time, and we are looking here at day 5, the last day of the last week, week 8 of the program. And we start with the beautiful beginning line, import Gradio as GR, which you know what a great fan I am of Gradio. So I was considering using Streamlit instead this time. You'll see in my repo I have some other example projects in Streamlit. But I figured there's so much that there's great things about Gradio and Streamlit, and all in all, I think I would double down on Gradio, and so there's no point in confusing you with showing you different things that you don't need, because it's all in Gradio. So there we go. With that, we import the deal agent framework. And so we basically import in here the whole of the thing we were looking at before. And you remember you can just instantiate this and call run to set the thing off. And we'll import opportunity and deal. So now, as we have talked about, I think briefly, we covered this, but somewhat in passing in the past, that Gradio has these 2 different levels of detail, a high-level API and a low-level, a bit like Hugging Face has the pipelines and then the tokenizers and models. Gradio has gr.interface, which is its high-level API for quickly building an interface. It's really simple to get up and running. If you've got like a single function, some inputs and outputs, and you want it to pop up, you can just use gr.interface and its cousin gr.chat interface that, of course, we've used to great success. But gr.interface is a wonderful way to get up and running. The lower level API is called gr.blocks, and gr.blocks gives you an ability to construct your user interface with some more finesse. You say with gr.blocks as, and then you can call it anything you want. I say as UI right here, and then you say UI.launch. instead of interface.launch. In browser equals true just means it's going to throw up a new screen as soon as we run this, rather than it being just a link. So that's convenient to know. And you can give it a title of the window that's going to come up. Fill width is true, is worth knowing. If you don't set that, then Gradio puts big margins on either side of the window, which sometimes is what you want, but often, particularly with the kinds of UIs we're going to be building, we want to use every possible pixel. So fill width is true, means that it fills the whole width. So then there's this construct that you get used to, which again we have come across this now a couple of times. But you say with gr.row, and then you put each row of your user interface, and you break your user interface into rows like this. And in each of these context manager, each of these pieces, you can put a bunch of different UI widgets. And then, somewhat confusingly, you can also have with gr.column, which is saying within a row, I would then like to break things into columns. We'll see that in a moment. It is worth knowing, a pro tip is that you can't have with gr.column at the top level. You have to start with gr.row, and then you can have columns and rows nested, I think, as deep as you want within that. But the top level one has to be rows, because Gradio is built to imagine a typical scrollable window. Okay, so I am beginning with gr.row, and I'm just going to put a markdown, a heading here. And when you use gr.markdown, which gives you a markdown field, which I know we've used a bunch of times now, you can also put in straight up HTML in there, which is what I do to have some centered big text. The price is right. And then I put like something below that as well. And let's see that running. I just execute this cell, and up comes the window, and it's pretty vanilla at the moment. The price is right. It's got a heading. You can see that this is a row, and that's another row, and there we have it. That is simple enough. We'll close that, come back here, and now we can do a little bit more. So what we're going to do now is add another gr.row, and this gr.row is going to contain a data frame, a gr.data frame, which is basically a table. It's think of it like a spreadsheet, a little embedded spreadsheet on our screen. And you tell it what headers you want: description, price, estimate, discount, URL. And wrap is a bit like in Excel or in Google Sheets. It's saying that I want to wrap within any cell. The column widths, which are relative, so you can say that I want the first one to be 4 times as large as the others. How many rows, how many columns, and the height, if you want it to have a fixed height. And some of these are optional. And then what I'm doing is I'm calling something called UI.load, which looks like many of the Gradio functions. You'll see a very consistent pattern across Gradio, where you say the function takes the name of a function, in our case get table, inputs and outputs. And that's how you hook up a function you're providing to this particular user interface. And what we're saying is that I have something called opportunities that I'll mention in just a moment. I want that to be the input of this thing, this table, and I want the output, whatever this returns, I want to hook that up to my data frame that I just defined right here. Did you follow that? The inputs are going to be this thing called opportunities that I'll speak about in a minute. And whatever this get table returns, I want that to be hooked up to this table, this data frame that we've constructed. Hopefully that makes sense. So what is this opportunities thing? So this opportunities thing is a gr.state, which means it's a bit of information that I want the user interface to remember. And this gr.state is going to have in it something called initial opportunity, which is just going to be something I'm hard coding in here, which is going to be an opportunity for a deal called example description, price $100. There's going to be a URL, cnn.com, and that's going to be it. So let's run this and see what happens. We get a user interface. We get this nice looking data frame, which is like a table, and it has in it one row, which has the thing that I just created with an example description, a price, an estimate, a discount, and a URL. And that's really the extent of it. Okay, so far so good. So let's keep going. All right, now the plot thickens. in this next cell, you can see I'm building on the user interface in each time. And I love doing that. That's one of the great things about, it's a combination of the great thing about Jupyter Labs and also about Gradio is you can build in this way incrementally. So I'm now going to create a new instance of an agent framework, a deal agent framework. Otherwise, I'm going to, I guess we're going to hook up to this, I think, in a later one. For now, all I wanted to do was make it so that this would be hooked up. We'd see it creating itself. We'd see some of the information, and I'd have it so that you can select an opportunity, and it would call the messenger to alert about that opportunity. So what you can see down here is I've now got two different things hooked up using Gradio's standard pattern. This is the same as before. If you load, it calls get table. It passes in the opportunities, and the outputs go in the frame. If you select, I'm calling the select function on the data frame itself, so that if a selection is made, it should call the function do select. The inputs should again be the opportunity. There aren't any outputs. What does do select do? It finds the index of what you've selected, and you specify that by having that as an argument right here. It looks up that opportunity from the list of opportunities, and it will then call the agent framework, the planner, the messenger, and send an alert about that opportunity. All right, seems reasonable. Let's run this. When we run it, the first thing you'll see is that there's a lot of, it was too fast. If I go back, you'll see that it was printing, of course, our log output to the command line here to the output of the Jupyter Lab, so we could see standard out. That's what I was grasping for then. Standard out is showing the log messages with the color system, so we know what is doing what, just as we wanted. And if we come over here, it's showing our table with CNN. And if I click on this, I did just get a notification to see, believe it. Hang on, I will press it again, press, and bang, I get a notification. So there you have it. We have now hooked up Gradio to our agent framework, at least so that it can notify us. So it's the beginnings of a user interface. It's the beginnings of something with the agent framework running behind the scenes. In the next video, we will move off the Jupyter Lab environment into the real code for the user interface. I'll see you then. And welcome now to the code for our user interface, which we will find in this Python module priceisright.py. And this is where we'll be looking at particularly the code that constructs the UI behind our product. And it starts with a few imports, this very important one to import Gradio, and this even more important one to import the deal agent framework, which is at the heart of what we built. And then it defines a class app. And if I scroll to the bottom, you'll see that at the bottom, it calls app.run. It creates app and then runs it. And what does that involve? Creating it does very little. It just sets an empty variable for agent framework. The juice, the meat, is in the run method. And that, of course, creates a user interface using Gradio's more advanced construct of gr.blocks with the price is right. And then what you see here is some code that's quite similar to the code that we've already looked at before. In fact, the user interface part of it right here is identical. We have some rows with some titles, and then we include our data frame. It has description, price, estimate, discount, and URL as the columns, and it's set up and assigned to something called opportunities data frame, just as before. The only thing that's changed is what's coming right afterwards. So here we go. This is the new stuff in this file. There is a UI.load. So this is again where we tell Gradio when you load, we want you to carry out a particular instruction. And we specify that using the standard format for Gradio, where you start with the name of the function it should call, the inputs and the outputs. And in this case, we're saying we want you to call the function called start. There are no inputs to this function. And whatever it returns, we want you to hook that up to the opportunities data frame. And that means we expect it to return some information that is suitable to be put into a table. So that's what we expect to see from a function start. And then we're going to create another Gradio UI component called a gr.timer. And that is something which does some timing. It is in fact a UI component which is invisible. It's something that runs behind the scenes, and it will wake up every 60 seconds. And what does it do every 60 seconds? Well, you have to tell Gradio what it should do. And the way you tell Gradio is by calling timer.tick. And when you do that, you provide the information to Gradio, again using the standard Gradio structure, standard approach. You tell it the function that will be called. In this case, I say go. You give it the inputs, there aren't any, and the outputs, whatever go returns, should be put into the opportunities data frame again. Simple as that. The select method here that we call is exactly the same as before. It's another thing that hasn't changed. It's not exactly the same. It's changed a tiny bit, but it's basically the same. And it ends with a call to the agent framework, planner, messenger, alert about the opportunity. So you probably noticed the small change there. It's going to do a full alert. All that remains is for us to go and look at the two functions we're expecting to see, start and go. And at the top of the display, you will find is indeed start and go, the two functions in question. And if we look at them, let's start with start. What start does is it creates a new instance of the deal agent framework, the key object that controls our whole framework. It instantiates it, and it then asks it for its memory of what opportunities does it have. And then it calls this function table4 with these opportunities, and it returns that table. So what does table4 do? Table4 is this tiny function up here. So table4 takes opportunities. And then you remember opportunities, if we go in here, opportunities are these objects here. That is exactly what gets stored in the memory of the agent framework. Contains a deal, an estimate, and a discount. That is an opportunity. So we go back to week 8. This function converts an opportunity object into just a list of strings, a list of lists of strings with the description, the price, the estimate, the discount, the URL, exactly the type, the structure that's needed to slot into the data frame that we have down here. So again, start just simply creates a deal agent framework, looks at its memory, converts that into strings and returns it. And go, which is the thing that gets called every 60 seconds, go is going to do something very, very similar. You'll see it looks very similar. It just has this one little tiny line added, a tiny little line. Well, doesn't do very much. It does everything. This is the line that calls run on our agent framework. It's the thing that we were doing manually before. It triggers the entire workflow that we have built. And that's what Go does, and Go will be kicked off every 60 seconds by this GR timer. So that is the business of it. All that remains is to see it working in action. And so now, to see this happening, we're going to go to the launcher, and we're going to open a new terminal. And I'm going to change to activate my Conda environment with Conda activate LLMs. There we go. And now I can run it by just typing Python price is right.py. Should be as simple as that. Let's see. Bit of a drum roll. And 3, 2, 1, here we go. So there's a pause while it thinks for a second. And bam, up comes the price is right. And there's more work going on. And here we see right in front of us, what we're looking at, of course, is the memory. We're looking at the opportunities that it's come up with. And we can scroll down and see this bottom item here. I do believe that is the item that was just surfaced to us most recently when we ran it from the command line before. And of course, it then put it into its memory. So we're seeing the items that have been surfaced here. And if I go back over to the command line, we'll see, of course, that it initialized, it set things up, it got itself ready. and it's now going to be sitting in a loop so that it's going to be waiting for the agent to tick, and after a minute it will kick off and launch. And hopefully you're doing the same thing. You've opened this up, you're running it, you're going to give this a try, and like me, you will then see it run, and I will go to the next lecture where we will take a look at the outcome. I will see you there. But wait, there's more. We need to add some more to the user interface just to make it look more cool. And so I put a little bit more work into this, and it's not particularly worth going through the code in that much detail other than to really show you what I came up with. But it occurred to me that whilst it is satisfactory to see the log messages appearing, so you can watch to see what's going on, it would be much nicer if we could surface them to the user interface. And that's a bit harder because typically the user interface with Gradio, it's a matter of making a request and getting back a response. But it's perfectly doable. And so whilst it's not necessarily worth us going through exactly how I approached it, but I've now turned to a new file, a new module called pricesrightfinal.py. And in the pricesrightfinal, I've added in some stuff at the top to handle being able to subscribe to long log messages. And then I've thrown in just a little bit of extra stuff as well. So with that in mind, let's just create a new terminal window and have a look at this user interface now. So we can say Python price. Oh, sorry, I need to activate my Conda environment, obviously. Conda activate LLMs. And now we can say Python price is right final.py, and we can see what comes up. So again, it thinks for a little while, up it comes, and you're going to notice one or two changes here. So first of all, as I promised, we've got this very attractive looking log here that shows you what's going on and allows you to look across the different agents as they run, see who is doing what. As before, we have our table up here, and that's going to allow us. I just clicked on that and I saw out of the corner of my eye that of course I got a push notification right away. And what do we have here? Well, what we have here is a 3D representation of our Chroma database that's being used to look up the products to send to the Frontier model when it appears over here. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, but what's the business purpose of having this particular RAG knowledge store being surfaced on this user interface? And it's an important question and an important answer. Is that there's no purpose whatsoever, no purpose to having this diagram. It just looks great and I want it to, and it's my course, and so I'll do it if I want to. Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, it was nice to be able to surface some data and be able to illustrate how easy it is to get a plot to show on a Gradio user interface. But this is running just to show off. What would perhaps be useful over time is to show in this the memory and actually be able to show in vector format the different points on the memory, and you can hover over it and see it. So maybe I'll make that adjustment myself, or you could do it for me and push the code. That would make this a little bit more useful and less of a gratuitous change. Now, the other thing that you might have noticed while I've been speaking is that the memory suddenly went blank. And you may be wondering, why on earth did the memory go blank? And the reason the memory went blank is, of course, because the run has kicked off over here. And actually, again, there are ways around this, but right now, when the run is in progress, that table goes blank, and then it will repopulate when the run completes, which is a bit janky and can be fixed, and that could be an exercise for you to improve the UI. That you can see right now, it's got to the point where it's calling modal, and so modal will be warming up. So with that, because this will take a minute, I will pause and I will come back when it has completed. See you then. And here we have it. The user interface is completed. The extra notification came through on my phone and my watch, and you can see the wonderful trace of what went on here with the surfaced conclusion at the bottom. and it's actually you just saw it up in the memory, and it's just going off right now because it's kicking off another run while we speak. I left it too long, but there, you got the idea. It ran, it completed, we saw the latest memories, and it was able to show the trace of the thinking that it was doing and what was happening. And it will be repeating this every 5 minutes. I should probably slow that down a bit, and notifying me all through the day and night of new deals. So hopefully this has been satisfying for you to see it come together. Hopefully you're running this yourself and seeing the same thing, seeing the conversation between the different agents in our agent framework, and seeing this being surfaced and highlighted in this user interface, and seeing how easy, of course, how incredibly easy it is to use Gradio to build something off the shelf that is able to give us such great insights into what's going on and give us so much functionality all in a set of screens. So with this, I hope that you enjoy working with this agent framework. Make it your own. I will probably go and fix the fact that the screen should refresh whilst it's also processing, so you don't have to wait. But if I don't do it, then by all means you should do it yourself, and add on more to this user interface and make this your own. Not only have you hopefully trained your own LLM to be even more accurate than R1, but also you're adding more functionality, improving the prompts, and finding other ways that we can bring this to life, and also add more features and surface them in the UI. And then when you've done that, push your code so that I can see it and admire it, and other students can take advantage of the changes that you've made. Enjoy working with this agent framework, and I will see you for the next video where we wrap things up. That concludes a mammoth project, 3 weeks in the making. In the course of those 3 weeks, starting with the data curation, the working with frontier models, and then ending with the complete user interface in Gradio, with even that very unnecessary but great plot 3D chart on the bottom right, together with the trace from the agents and the results of the memory. And all of it came together. Remember, the user interface was not really the point. The user interface was a bit extra so we can monitor it. The main point is that just runs, and it just keeps running. And as it runs, it will be continually notifying me every few minutes with a new deal that it hasn't surfaced before. And that is the conclusion of a very satisfying, great project that we have built end to end. And so, with that, let's take a moment to do a retro of the last 8 weeks one more time. I've gone on about this so many times, and so you'll be happy or maybe a bit sad that this is the final retrospective. You started 8 weeks ago over on the left. We wanted to get to being an LLM engineer, someone who had mastered LLM engineering, highly proficient, advanced. And this is how we got there. In the first week, we played with lots of models. We found out how many times the letter A appeared in sentences. We took a quick look at O1 preview, amongst other things. In week 2, we first saw Gradio, and we played with some multimodality, which was fun. We also saw an early version of agentization. In week 3, we got stuck into Hugging Face. We had pipelines, we had tokenizers, we had models. In week 4, we got deeper into Hugging Face. We selected LLMs, we generated code, and we had that remarkable project with the 60,000 time performance improvement. In week 5, we built our RAG solution for Insure Elm, which used Chroma, and also briefly we used Face as well, and created our expert, and maybe you did the big project associated with that. Week 6, we fine-tuned a frontier model, although most of week 6 was spent curating data, but that is such an important activity. In week 7, we did fine-tune an open source model that then beat the frontier. And in week 8, we packaged it together to an agentic AI solution, complete with 7 agents and a user interface. And it was fabulous. So that was the journey. I need to take a moment to thank you. Thank you so much for staying through to the end. You I can't explain how much I appreciate it. It's really so wonderful to have had people come all the way through the course, gone through the 8-week journey, and take advantage of everything that we've been doing and get to this point. And I've heard from several of you along the way, and it's been really rewarding for me to experience this. Super grateful. I hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously, I've enjoyed it a lot, far too much. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. I really hope you can stay in touch. By all means, please do LinkedIn with me if you're open to that, if you're okay with that. I'm very much welcome LinkedIn connections, and we can have a community, and message me if you've got to this point. I definitely want to hear it. And of course, you've got this big challenge now. Can you take what you've learned and use it to build your own project? Maybe that idea I had about using the finance data would be an interesting one. See if you can build something that could make some money. If you do, then I expect a lunch out of it at the very least, perhaps. But that would be a fun challenge. Whatever you do with it, I want to hear about it. If you built a great platform that is using some of this learning, then please share it. I'd love other students to see that too. And it's great to have that kind of output. As a tiny little extra, I don't know if you remember all the way back in week 1, I did mention there was going to be a little extra juicy nugget at the very end, and this is what it is. I wanted to tell you that I did a personal project where I fine-tuned an LLM. It was in fact a Llama 2 LLM from the beginning of this year on all of my text message history. It turns out that I have 240,000 text messages that have built up over time on my iPhone since I had the first iPhone some time ago. And so I had a lot of text message history, and I was able to use that to train Llama 2 to make a simulation of me. And there's a write-up on my website, on my blog at edwardonner.com. You can take a look, and there's instructions for how you can do it too. And of course, I was using Llama 2, and now Llama 3.1 is so much better, along with some of the others like Quen and so on. So you could definitely have a stab at this, and you will probably have even better results than I had. And the results I had were spooky. They really were very good indeed. And so with that, I have to bring up the final slide. Congratulations. I hope that you're proud of what you've accomplished. I hope you do feel that sense that you have now reached an advanced point in your learning. You have got to the summit of the mountain. I'm so very happy, and I really hope that you're able to take this and use it in your day job, in your career, to move forwards. And I very much want to hear all about it. So do stay in touch. Thank you once again, and a huge congratulations.